Hey guys, how you going? It's VaulSC here. Hope you're having a good week. It is time to kick off the Tabletop Simulator Infinity League, something we're all excited about. And in this video, I'm going to go over the first round match pairings, who you're going to be playing against, how to get hold of that person, how to get your game started. I'm going to be talking about the official table for the ranked scheduled rounds and how to get your hands on that and to load it up. I'm going to be talking about how to submit your results and some of the rules around that, and we'll go through everything. Importantly, on my YouTube channel, under the uploaded videos, you will have seen me upload my first video announcement and also upload my tutorial on how to play Tabletop Simulator. Please watch those videos. If you're emailing me and participating in the league and wanting to join in, but you haven't really played around with Tabletop Simulator and you haven't watched that video, you really need to watch the tutorial on actually how to use the thing, because the last thing we want to do is match you up against players in a competitive sort of fashion, only for you to have to spend a lot of time fumbling around with actually how to use the program. It's not that hard to use, and once you've watched the video, that's all we really need you to know. The rest comes pretty easily. So watch those two videos. Now, in the link for this video description, there are some very important links. One of them will take you to this public spreadsheet here, which is publicly viewable. This is going to get updated all the time. And this is you guys. This is people who have told me that they want to get involved in the league. Notice that the first group up the top have either said to me, no, I don't want to commit to being able to play a game a week at times that my opponent can play me on, or I'm not sure. You'll be in this top group. For those of you who have said to me, yes, I can play a game a week, I can be a bit flexible with time zones, I can try and get hold of my opponent on the other side of the world in the weekend and play them, then you're going to be on this list down here. And what a turnout, damn. I think there's something like 34 people in the ranked scheduled group, plus another 10, 12 people, 11 people, 10 people in the unranked. So that's awesome, guys. Now, I must say this. Some of you are probably going to have to drop out of this main group if you're finding it too difficult to get the games happening. And that's okay. Just tell me as soon as possible. So there's that. If you want to join the league and you've missed the opportunity to email me and sign up, technically it's not too late. If you want to be in the unscheduled casual section, you can sign up whenever you want. You can sign up 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now if you want to. We'll just bring you in and you'll have a few ranked results in terms of, you know, just the outcomes on the spreadsheet. But in terms of the overall winner, you're going to need to be in this main group. Now, technically, if you sign up for this thing before next weekend, there is a small possibility we may be able to give you another matched opponent there, but just makes it harder and harder the longer you leave it. Looking at my calendar, for me, it's the 20th of March, New Zealand time. It's a Friday night. Doom Eternal's just come out. I'm going to be playing the hell out of that this weekend. But you guys need to be playing your games, Tabletop Simulator. But if you sign up before the 27th and I give you another ranked opponent who also signs up late, it may be possible for you to sneak in. But after everybody's played a round and we've moved on to the next sort of lot of pairings, it's definitely going to be too late. Okay, so the link in the video description will take you to this spreadsheet. Now, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. If we click on the next, see how there's the two tabs down the bottom here? If we click on the one that says round pairings, we get this. This is for the first round, which will be played on Frostbite. And as you can see, on the left-hand column, you've got player 1, and on the right-hand column, player 2, and each row represents a matchup. So we've got Journey playing Invincible Army from Russia against Castor, playing Toha from Poland. Then we've got Camden in London against Ashelon in Spain. Knight-X, O12 versus Leo Maris's Military Orders. And these are the guys who I am trying to get having a single game this week that is going to be like on the books, on the record for our, you know, competition tournament purposes. So find the row that you're on and see who's opposite you and contact that person. We have everybody's Discord names. So what you'll do is you'll go and look for your opponent. So Journey will go onto the Discord, look for Castor, and you'll basically go into Discord, and obviously the Discord name's going to be the right-hand side. You can go and look for them, and you want to right-click the person and go message, and you want to direct message them. You don't need to call your opponent out in the group chat, because otherwise everybody's spamming their opponent. A little bit of trash talk's fine, but most of what you'll be doing happens in the direct messaging over here, right? Okay, so go and find your opponent in Discord now and talk to them about when you're going to play your game, because preferably I'd like you to complete your game before like the 27th / the 28th of March so that we can get your game recorded. Now, the observant among you will notice that I have just sort of rigged this so that typically the Europe guys are playing the other Europe guys, the Americans are playing the Americans, and the Australian people are playing the Australians, generally speaking. There are a few exceptions to that. But I'm doing this just because I want the first and shakiest round to be as easy as possible. I'm just trying to get a smoother outcome for the first week because things are up in the air, people are coming in late, and we just don't know how reliable people are going to be. So that's how I want to do it. The second game round is where the matchups are going to be determined by, you know, what the points were. If you won your game, you'd be playing against somebody who won, and you know, and so on. So that's how that goes. You'll notice down the bottom here that I have the unscheduled casual guys, and that's cool. No shame in that. Some of you may need to drop down to this group, and the matchups that I've given you here are just suggestions only. If you're Asday or Expatriate, you don't necessarily have to play Falchion or Snowball. You guys can just go and look for anybody else in this group and ask them nicely for a game. And if the two of you play this week, you can upload your results and I'll put it on record, okay? But you don't have to play a game. You don't have to play against any specific person. Just your participation is okay with us. Also, if you are in the matched group, if you're in the ranked group and you finish your game and you want to play other games against other people in the league, even other people on this list, you are welcome to, and you are able to upload an unscheduled casual result. The ranked guys can play the unranked guys and vice versa. It's only the single game this week for the actual prescribed matchups that we're going to be recording differently, and I'm going to explain that when we come to how to actually report and record your results. The only thing I would ask is that within the league, don't play against the same person more than once, please. Otherwise, I don't want to sort of add your data. I'm not saying don't play them more than once, it's just don't upload a result for more than once. So if you want to have a rematch against somebody, that's fine, but only report one of the games that you actually have against them, please. We are going to be taking a look at the end of this league about how many games you get to play, how many of the other players you get to collect. We're going to be looking at win percentages, some other fun stuff. And just remember, if you finish your game and you're in the scheduled ranked sort of part of the league, that division, and you play against that person again, or if you play against somebody else within that division before it's time to actually meet them in the actual ranked competition, maybe play your off list or whatever. There is that, so don't give away too much information, but again, it's between the two of you, so you'll both see each other's information there. So that's how it's looking. If you feel like you have to bail on us and flake out, and I hope you don't do that, and if you feel you can't make your game, please tell me ASAP. Also, if you message your opponent and you're trying to organize a game with that person and they're kind of being non-committal and not telling you when they want to play and just not really committing to any kind of tabletop simulator, tell me, and in worst case scenario, we can rig up another opponent for you. Note that the two names down the bottom are Hayoung and VaulSC. This is me and my buddy Hayoung, who I play against quite regularly, who's helping me administrate this. If you're really struggling to find an opponent or something's going wrong, you can always sub in and play against one of us, hopefully. You know, we're busy people, but you know, we want this thing to work, so reach out to us if there's a problem and we'll try and sub in. Also, if one of these scheduled guys goes missing all of a sudden and the unscheduled guys are having a lot of fun and feeling like they can make more games than usual, we may be able to promote somebody from the lower division here up into the ranked division, if that makes sense. Cool? Anyway, great turnout. Heaps of different factions being represented. Papu Infinity, if you're watching this video, please tell me what list you're bringing and what faction you are, because you are late, but that's okay. You are still welcome to play. So the link in the video description will take you to this spreadsheet. Please take a good look at it, and bear in mind that this spreadsheet will always get updated, so check back and have a look. And we're going to be creating some more tabs here, which will have leaderboards and scores and all sorts of fun stuff. Next link in the video description you will have seen before. It's the rules. If you haven't already read this, please read it again. This rules document has just been updated today with some links to other things that you might find useful, such as the spreadsheet we just talked about. Okay, next link will take you to a very important new TTS mod, which I created today, which is called TTS Infinity League. If you subscribe to this, you will be able to access the current and official table for this week's round in Tabletop Simulator, and we'll get to that soon. This is a table that I've specifically created today for the mission Frostbite, and that is the official mission you'll need to play on for the first round in your ranked games. So you and your opponent can load that up, and we'll be talking about that in this video. The other way you can find this is by going into the Steam workshop and searching for it. I'm not too sure how easy it is to find at the moment, but if I click workshop and I go over here, you might even just be able to search VaulSC. But if I go TTS Infinity League, let's see what comes up. Oh, it's the first one. There it is. How easy is that? So click on that. Make sure you subscribe to it. It will appear in the Mod Workshop menu in Tabletop Simulator, and you can load it up and you can get my table, which we'll see very shortly. The other link that I want you guys to be aware of is this one, and that is a Google form where you can submit the result of your game. Now, let me just say this. Only one person needs to submit a result. If you guys both submit a result, it just means more sorting through data for me and potential confusion. So after the game is completed, you and your opponent need to agree which one of you guys is going to go into this form and put the results in. Please bear in mind that the results will be made public and uploaded to a spreadsheet, so if you don't trust your opponent to actually go and enter the correct data, you can look it up and correct it if it was wrong, okay? So if they tell me that you got 3 objective points and you actually got, 5 objective points in your game, you can look up the spreadsheet the following day and sort of see how many you got given, and you can message me on Discord if that needs to be corrected, and I will fix it for you, okay? If you're having trouble working out who needs to fill in the form, I recommend the person who actually won the game, because that's the person who's currently, on an emotional high and wants to get things done and feels proud of submitting the results. So let's say the person who wins the game loads this link up and fills in this form once and leaves it at that, and I will enter the data later. If it's a draw, just figure it out amongst yourselves, okay? Tabletop Simulator League match result form. So you'll load this up after your game, and very importantly, you'll say, was this a scheduled rank match or wasn't it? This is extremely important because it's telling me whether you played an official game against the official opponent that I gave you on the official map at the official time, okay? So between now and next weekend, for that to be a yes on here, it needs to be played on Frostbite on the official map against that particular person. Anything outside of that is going to be a no. So if you're one of these unscheduled casual players, you'll fill in the form, but you'll put a no here. If you've completed your official ranked scheduled league game, but you happen to play somebody else within the league and you just want to add that result as well unofficially, you will put a no for this. I hope that makes sense. What is your Discord name? Well, it's going to be exactly what it is here, and it needs to be the exact sort of spelling here just so I can find you and add it correctly. So if you are Amnesia, don't put the hashtag and all the numbers next to it. Just write Amnesia and just spell it out exactly as it's spelt in Discord, as it currently is. And please, guys, can you not, change your name lots of times during this league? Otherwise, it will confuse me. Please, please, please don't do that. You'll need to put your opponent's name so I know who that you are playing for that round. What mission did you play? Part of the reason why I'm actually asking about this is that the unscheduled, unranked, casual games don't have to be played on Frostbite, so you can tell me what mission you played on. That's kind of interesting. The other reason why I want to know this is that between rounds, there's going to be the specific cutoff point, which might be a bit of a grey, a thin line kind of thing. So if you say Frostbite and you said it was a ranked, scheduled game, I know that it was week 1. But if you give me any other mission and you've ticked ranked, I know it's definitely not week 1. So if we get very close to the cutoff point and there are people playing their game right at the end of the allocated time or right at the start of the allocated time, that will help me differentiate which round that went to. There might be a place to put in the date somewhere, but I don't think I've recorded that. That's okay. I'll be able to see it in the responses presumably when that comes through. What was the overall result? Okay, you're going to say whether you won, drew, or lost. I know that I can just get that out of the objective points, but that is helpful for me. it's also something which sort of catches people who input data that wasn't quite correct. So if you put, I got 4 objective points and my opponent got 6 and I won, then I know that there's a problem there. So it helps keep the results consistent. So I quite like seeing that. Army points, remember this is something you do in normal tournaments. So what you do is you add up the points values of everything that survived at the end of the game and you write that number in. And if you had baggage, for example, you get plus 20 points for every baggage that survived. If you've got a Shazvasti model that's unconscious, I think that their corpses still count for points surviving. You have to correct me on that one if I'm wrong, but the way I tend to do this is I load up my army and I go, right, my diva just got killed during that game and I lost a probot and I lost a Yudbot and a Sophatect and my proxy sniper died and the net rod flew off the table, but everybody else survived. And it will actually tell me up here 193 points are alive, but I'll add the 20 points for the probot who has baggage, so I'll take that up to 213. And then I'll go and write that amount in for the amount that that I had remaining. So how many points, army points, do you have remaining? You put that number in, and then you ask your opponent how much stuff of theirs survived. You put that number in there. Lastly, there is a field where you can record the results, the notes. And the reason why there is an optional notes field here, well, there's a few reasons. First of all, if you found that this form didn't capture something that it needed to capture, or there was a problem filling it in, or there was some sort of technical, clerical error, you can add to that in this notes field. Second reason, if you feel like there was something really compromising the game or your abilities to submit a result, you may be able to tell me. For example, you might fill in all of the scores, but in the notes section you say something like, well, showed up to play the game, but the guy had to go to the bathroom halfway through and he didn't come back for an hour, and then he ran out of time, and we got through like 1.5 game rounds and he couldn't finish it, and then when I wanted to reschedule and load up the save game, I just didn't hear from him again, so I'm just going to add this result. Like if I see that kind of note there, that gives me the opportunity to try and contact the other person and ask them if that was actually the case. And if it did turn out that way, then there's a possibility we can invalidate this result and give you a different match and try and solve the problem that way. I'm really hoping that we don't have to do anything like that. Don't use this notes field unless you actually need to. It's just sort of a backup if you do need to submit some numbers to me, but there's seriously a problem. Obviously, don't write a note saying, "Oh, the game was terrible because this missile launcher crit me twice in a row, and like I would have won other." And I don't want to see anything like that. That's the kind of thing I would do, but let's not put that in the official response. It's going to take me ages to go through the data entry. I've got 1 or 2 people to help me, but it's still going to take a while. So hopefully that makes sense, and you guys can fill in this form once per game that you play that's meant to be part of the league, and then we can put your results in here and have a really cool leaderboard and actually have a competition. Right, so we're getting somewhere. Let's go over to Tabletop Simulator now, and we'll go and play, and we'll talk about this table, okay? So every week I'm going to be making a table specifically for the mission, which everybody can use. If you guys specifically, you and your opponent both agree to play a different mission or table, I don't think you should do that, but if you somehow both agree to, then can't stop you. And in fact, that form we just talked about, you may want to write in the notes if you deviated from the mission or the table in some way. I don't mind if you guys agree to edit my table and add more terrain in, or take some stuff away, or if you want to FAQ and errata the mission yourself, just because you didn't really like a particular feature of it, then tell me about it. So, the workshop now has the TTS Infinity League icon available in it. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click load, and that is going to bring up this table for you to play on in a second. Here we go. Alrighty, spent a little while this evening making this for you. Hopefully it works. And it's loading up. So I've basically stripped back the base Infinity mod, as you can see, and just made it a little bit less colorful. And in the middle we have our Frosty Frostbite map. Of course, we can switch it to here. Don't forget there's an exclusion zone in this mission. You can see these black things are the heating units, and the green things are the consoles, which you're going to use to actually heat them. Somebody pointed out to me that back when this mission first came out, there was actually a thread explaining that when you do turn one of the consoles on and it heats up one of the heaters, then that console can't be used again to heat another heater later in the game. So there is that. It also means that once all three heaters have been, once all three consoles have been used, 3 of the heaters are turned on, and there's always going to be 1 heater that's not turned on again. But hey, this mission's more about the data tracker surviving, and the data tracker is immune to the cold, same with the heavy infantry and tags, so there will still be survivors a lot of the time. As for the table itself, I hope you guys can put up with it. This area in the corner has a jungle. It's a very cold, frozen jungle, but it is a jungle terrain. If you look very closely at this texture, that is the outside boundary of where the jungle terrain actually is. You've got a saturation zone and difficult terrain. This little foliage thing here is nothing, it's just cosmetics, but this little edge of it here is where the actual forest lies. So you can put a missile launcher or sniper over here and it'll easily see down this long alleyway here if you really want it to, but it's got a very thin part of the battlefield it covers, so you can easily avoid it also. Cool. This deployment zone I feel is pretty good, especially since it comes out to here, so you've got a couple of bits to hide behind right there. But I've tried to make both deployment zones enough that even if you've got a 16 to 20 model list, there's probably enough places to go prone behind and hide things behind. You might be a little bit cluttered, but I've just tried to make it reasonably fair to start us off. There are some really long fire lanes through the middle of the table, as you can see, but also there's a lot of blockage and ad boards and stuff as well. So looking from this side, it's not particularly long ranged. That's fine. I feel like it's a reasonably well balanced table, so I hope you guys like that. There are some paraphernalia here, like some extra HVTs and the special dice, starter pack, liaison officer, all of that. So yeah, make sure you can load up this room. Don't forget you can save it under your own save games, because this will be overwritten in week 2. The mod will be updated, or my version of the mod will be updated with my next table when we reach the second game round. And of course we've got all of the normal bags here, which you can unload your troops. Right, so we've got the table, we've got the matchups, we've got the round pairings, we've got the form to fill in the results, we've got the rules in place, everybody's signed up. More people can sign up and join the league later if they really want to. Have I forgotten anything? If you guys feel that I haven't covered something, just ask me in Discord. But dudes, get to it, man. Go and play some Infinity. Play some Tabletop Simulator. You got your opponents there. Try and schedule a game as soon as you can. Please tell me as soon as you're having any trouble getting the other guy to play against you, and we'll work something out. But damn, this is looking really cool. I think we've got something like 34 people in the main division here, and after 5 rounds, I'm pretty hopeful we'll have an amazing winner. If we get to like week 5 and it's looking like it's going to come down to like one particular table where there's going to be like one matchup, hopefully I'm going to be able to talk to those 2 people and find out when they're going to be playing, and we can hype it up. We can go on Twitch, we can stream it, put it on YouTube, you know, go on social media and get everybody to come and make it into a real awesome event. So that'd be really cool if we can get that far, but we've got to get that far, and I feel like the field may be whittled down a little bit by people's availability, but we're about to find out about that. So hit your opponent up, guys. Let's get it going.